people say when they read the Bible or they read history, they say, oh, Jesus, he was a great man. He was a great man, and he really had the courage to stand up and speak out against injustice at the time. Now, whether you believe he is a deity of any kind, that's your choice to believe what you want to believe. But right now I'm focusing on the man as he walked the earth, and many other people who came after him who also had the courage to stand up against tyrannical governments that plague society in each one of these people's lifetime. When people always, say, oh, well, what would Jesus do? And I want to do everything possible to live my life as Jesus would. But at the same time, when it comes time for them to speak out or to challenge the ills of their society, they go mute. Now think about it. You ask any one of these people, will you speak out against this injustice? Will you speak out against the government? Will you speak out against moral issues? Oh, no. I can't do that. I might lose my job. I got to think about my family. Oh, what if they come after me? No, I can't afford that. Can't do that. But yet, at the same time, you profess to follow this person called Christ, who was all of these things wrapped into one. He spoke out against everything that was going wrong at the time. That's what got him killed. He was rocking the boat, and not only was he rocking the structure of how things were being done at the time, he was actually starting to convince people other people were starting to see that a lot of the stuff that he was saying was making sense. And then when he started to make too much sense to too many people, he started rocking the boat, and at that point, they had to make a decision to pin something on him to get him out of there. Now, that takes courage. If the only thing you're going to lose in life, the comforts of life that you've grown accustomed to, that's nothing compared to losing your life over what you believe. But yet, you want to claim to be like Jesus. It's a major contradiction. Put yourself in his shoes as to when he was living, the times in which he was living in, and say to yourself, "Wow, this guy must have been crazy to speak it." They would cut people's hands off and cut their heads off for a fraction of what he complained about. This guy is nuts. This guy must be out of his damn mind. Some people would say the same about someone like, let's say, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichael, the Black Panthers, SNCC. All these organizations. Think about the times in which these people lived in. It took a lot of courage to speak out and to actually fight against the system that was entrenched in the society at the time. These same people that you speak to now, they say stupid things like, well, if I was living in slavery, I would have been Kunta Kinte. They would have to cut my foot off and kill me because I'm not going to just have any white people just, beating me and this and that. And, shit, they have to kill me. And you're the same jackass who was afraid to open his mouth just because he might lose the comfort of his cushy job. And the attitude that I guess those people had at the time is what we're fighting for. We may not get it ourselves, but what we're fighting for is much more important than us as individuals. We're fighting for something that we may not see, but hopefully our children may be able to enjoy. It's that important. And these people that you speak to now have gotten so accustomed to letting somebody else do the work, letting somebody else do the legwork, letting someone else take the risk, letting someone else put their neck out like that they feel, oh, well, somebody else will do it. And they'll always be able to benefit from somebody else's hard work, someone else's struggle. And that is true. Some, majority of people who have never struggled a day in their life actually do benefit from other people's struggles. But now this is your turn. This is your time. You're alive now. What are you going to do to affect change? What are you going to do? Now, don't worry about what the next person's going to do. What are you going to do? What are you willing to do at this point to make this world a better place for yourself and hopefully for the next generation? We all have to die one day. That's a fact. None of us, from the richest to the poor of us, none of us are going to escape death. It's the great equalizer, they say. Now, isn't it better to be remembered by the way you lived your life and what you stood for, as opposed to dying and nobody ever knew who the hell you were because you were always a person hiding in the shadows waiting for somebody else to make the move? They say that a hero dies once and a coward dies 1,000 deaths. No one ever remembers the coward. People only remember the people who had conviction. Enough conviction to actually stand up and speak out and say what was right in the face of all that was wrong. And in that situation, it is very dangerous to be right when the whole world around you is wrong. But you'll be remembered as a person who saw of just because things are the way they are today, that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be this way tomorrow. You're thinking long range when you have to look at it in that perspective. Do you really want to be like Jesus? Do you really have what it takes to be the Jesus of your time? Do you really want to be like Jesus, or is that just talk? You can start being like Jesus right now by speaking out against things that are wrong, regardless of what the consequences are. There's always going to be a consequence. As was said, and I quote, by Ayn Rand, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the results of ignoring reality. What you do or don't do at this point is going to affect you one way or the other, positively or negatively. But either way, you have to do something. What are you going to do?